Okay, hello and welcome back to Holy Discourse. We are going to watch a Bradley on a budget video. I actually found him through, I was watching someone that was like kind of roasting Caleb Hammer. I don't know how you would call it. Talking how they disagreed with him, and they had brought up this channel. Um, and this is something different that I haven't really seen from other people do. Maybe I'm just like not really in the finance space, so don't really know. I'll watch Caleb Hammer every once in a while if I'm like, oh, this looks like an interesting video. Usually I just play it in the background and it's like, okay, whatever. But this guy, like, actually, I mean, he's making more money now because he's doing well on YouTube and stuff like that. But um, he's always talking about ways to save, ways to go on vacation for cheaper, and just bringing the idea of like you can have a good life and be very kind of frugal with your money and all that. And so I'm like, I really want to watch this guy and like react to it because I think that's a very positive message. You see so many people like finance people on YouTube be like, "Oh, well, you have to follow this budget and you have to do this and you have to do that." And it's like, "Okay, yes, and you did put your money where your mouth is because like you got out of debt or you did this or you did that, but like this is an actual person that's videotaping themselves, whether they're still in debt or not, I don't know, but videotaping themselves of just like this is my day in and day out. This is like kind of like what I spend on. This is and just kind of giving tips of also how to be able to save.
Open society because I would rather have no idea who I am. Buckle up. I was like, I have to film this episode in my car. Also, fun fact, I'm filming at my high school that I went to, which is so crazy because I'm 33 and I graduated high school when I was 17. And it's just so surreal. It's so surreal to be like sitting in this parking lot. I don't know if you're like this. I can't believe I was a teenager. I can't believe I was a kid. I don't know if it's from what I went through, but I literally feel like I came out of the womb at like 20 years old. Like I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I never was a kid. I feel like I always had to be an adult and like survive.
I was gonna say,
The motto for 2026 is save your money and shut up. And I wanted this to be the video that kicks off the new year because that is the mindset you have to get in. I am so tired of people complaining about money and you do nothing. Nothing! It drives me crazy. When
see, I don't get like as much as my job is now because like I interact with people in the morning, and that's about it. But the old job that I was at, where I was like around people 24/7, the amount of people who like complained about like every little thing about money was very tiring. And I do understand like life is hard, like people are going through it financially, like everyone is. But you're also seeing these same people like eat out almost every day or do stuff like that. Or they're like, I'm not going to get married until I'm financially stable. And it's like, okay. And I'm seeing people like wait like 5 to 10 years, like waiting to get married to this person that they love. And they're wanting to give them a good wedding, but they're waiting like 10 years and they're not even close to being out of debt. And they're still doing the same habits that they have been. And I'm like, well, if you just want to get married, like, why don't you? To me, like, if I found someone that I wanted to marry and we were both in a very bad financial state, I'd be like, okay, so we want to get married. Like, let's go down to the courthouse, let's get married, you know, 10, 20 years down the road when we got a heck of a lot better finances, we've been grinding, we've been doing all this. And if we want to do something big and elaborate, we can. If not, that's okay too. If we decide, you know what, we don't really want to do anything, maybe let's go on a vacation, maybe let's do this or whatever. Okay, fine. Like, it's just really hard to see people like complain about certain stuff when you see also bad habits going every day. Like, I know a bad habit for me is I like to go out to eat. I know it. I know it's not good for my finances, and I could probably have more money in my pocket at the end of the day if I just meal prepped everything. And even after I meal prep everything, sometimes I'm like, oh, I just want to go out. If I just stop that and instead like heat up my stuff that I've meal prepped, or just cook stuff right off the bat, like whatever it may be, I'm like, if I would just do that, like that would help me a lot. That, and two, it helps track calories and stuff like that, and would help me with actual weight loss instead of over a year being the same exact weight, wanting to lose weight. It was like I dropped 30 pounds. Or I dropped 25 or 20 to 25 by my own in like a year. and then like 5 with they tried to put me on Zepbound, but I was also on mono also had mono at the same time, so I had an insanely bad reaction to Zepbound. I was not eating at all, and the little that I was eating, I was basically trying to throw up, but mostly was just dry heaving because I wasn't really eating anything other than like a couple of oranges, and that's about it. That's what I had for the day, pretty much. Every once once it got towards the end of the week, I could actually eat, and I would like kind of treat myself and go out to McDonald's or do something like that. But most of the time, it was just here's a couple of mandarins. They're very small, but they're very filling for you because you're on this weight loss drug. So yeah, it was. I did not have a good time. But going back to the topic, um, there's like little things that you can change, whether it be your diet, finances, whatever, that make a big difference in the end. And that is one of the ones that would be a huge difference in my personal finances. Because other than that, like I don't really spend money on much. I maybe take a vacation like once a year, if that, and then I mean the rest of my money either goes to something for my dog, like expenses I have, and like groceries and stuff. I don't really have much other than that.
You know there's a problem in your life and you refuse to find a solution to the problem. Like that has been the survival mode of my entire life. If I have a problem, I need to find a solution. No one is going to do it for me but me. So like my student loan debt, no one had my back. I had no one to lean on. That 6 figures of debt was all on my shoulders. That's where my frugal lifestyle began because I was like, that's my only solution. I cannot afford to spend any money unless it is for absolutely what I need. Anyways, I'm already off the rails. So the episode is titled Save Your Money and Shut Up, because if you are financially struggling, if you have financial goals that you want to accomplish, or if you're just not happy where you are financially, what are you going to do about it? I guess when I entered my student loan situation when I was 20 years old, even though I was super depressed and I was really defeated, I still had this thing within me that was like, I have to do whatever it takes. I feel like in our society today, so many people don't want to do that. People don't want to make the sacrifices. People don't want to give up things. So many people don't win.
And I think this is a good. We were talking about this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago now, when I forget where in the Bible we were. Where were we? I don't remember. I don't want to say it was Genesis. We've been out of Revelations for a while, so I don't think it's Revelation. Where the heck were we? Was it Peter? Maybe it was Peter, but we were talking about there was this like a specific sentence of like basically as a human being you're gonna suffer, and we were talking about like the different definitions of suffer, and like what he's talking about sacrificing maybe really nice meals, maybe really nice trips, or you know you're suffering now or you're sacrificing now so later you can have better things, so later you can do things, what do you call it? Like instead of having like, oh, I'm going to have a really nice vacation now, it's like, okay, well, if I save all that money and I don't go on the vacation now and maybe wait a couple years, then I can have a super, super, super nice vacation and maybe go to like my dream destination that I've always wanted to go, instead of being like, okay, we're going to spend it going, I don't know, to Colorado or something like that. But your dream destination, like I've always wanted to go to like Spain. I think that would be really beautiful to see all the architecture, and like I want to learn Spanish, and it's like, okay, well maybe, instead of going to Colorado and paying for the plane tickets and all that stuff, I could save up, maybe start trying to learn Spanish, like take my time, still take that vacation time, but use it to like better myself, to make those sacrifices or suffer, whatever you want to call it, to then be able to do my dream destination instead. But people are so one-track minded that they're like, now, 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 now. And I think part of it is like the whole like consumerism part of things and how fast-paced everything is now. We started with Vine, 7-second videos. I mean, TikTok is only like, you can only do like a couple minutes. It's always short-form content. How I promote my channel is through shorts, short-form content. Sometimes people are actually interested and want to come over, or some people just want to watch like every little clip that I post. And I'm guilty of this too. 100% guilty of this too. I can't tell you how many movies have been like a bunch of little shorts have been posted on like TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, and I've watched it through there. Like, yes, I'm 100% guilty of this too. And it's like, people just don't understand. It's okay to like take your time. And I feel like, as a person who I feel like has just started adulthood, um, I see a lot of people that I went to high school with or college with or whatever, and it's like these people are living like, um, sorry, these people are living like luxury lifestyles and doing all this and doing all that, and it's like, how are they doing all this? Oh yeah, they're going into debt. They don't have like that good job and stuff like that. Like, most of them, they talk about their jobs, and it's usually like a minimum wage job, and it's like, okay, so how are you going to these fancy things and doing these fancy things? They're all doing it in debt. They're seeing what their parents have made, and the lifestyle that they have made, and they think that that's where you should be starting. That's not where you start. My dad talks about all the time, like, just to even get into college, like, to pay for his college, like, his family was poor, so he had to go into the military. Like, that, my dad lives a very good life right now. Like him and my mom, like, are able to go on nice vacations and do nice stuff. But they work their butts off for a long time. And I am just starting out. And it is hard sometimes to see that and like compare yourself and be like, well, they're so far ahead. Well, why am I not there? And it's like, because you're starting at square one. They've already started at square one, and they've had like, so many years ahead of you. You And I see other people fall into this trap too, because I see other people going on fancy vacations and doing all that kind of stuff, and and then they're complaining on their Snapchats and Facebooks and all this other stuff. Oh, I'm poor. Oh, I'm this and that, and they're making like sad sob stories about it. And it's like, well, yeah, you're starting at square one. You're gonna be poor when you come out of your parents' home, unless your freaking parents are like a millionaire and they're like, here's $100,000, like, have at it. Like, no, you're going to be starting at square one. You're going to be probably eating ramen and doing all this. Like, after college, like, I stayed for a couple years with my parents because I knew, because I seen, like, my cousins do it and stuff like that, tried to move out and had to move right back in because all their stuff was going to apartments and, like, expenses and stuff like that. They weren't making any money on top of it to be able to, like, afford a house, and that was their goal. So they had to move back in to be like, okay, I'm moving back in, I'm paying off my college debt, I'm putting money aside for a house, I'm doing all, they're allotting things, and they're actually able to allot things, and that's kind of how I did it too, as I was like, okay, so I see all my friends just moving out into the world and doing all this and that, but it's like, I knew financially I couldn't do that, and I still see a lot of my friends struggling outside of college because of, they didn't take that time to, because I know all of their parents would have offered, like, if you want to move in, like, even if they had to pay rent, it'd been a heck of a lot cheaper than going to an actual apartment. And they could have kind of catapulted themselves into a really, really good position starting off. And so I'm kind of happy, like, yeah, I wasn't at my dream destination of where I wanted to live, where I wanted to be in life. I was not happy with God at the time because I was like, you promised me that I was going to come back here, and I've been here for, I've been where I've been living for a couple of years. Like, I want to move. Like, why are you dragging your feet? What's going on? Come on. And all this other stuff. But it's like, now hindsight is 2020. And it's like, wow, I'm in a good position. Because, yeah, you could say I suffered or I sacrificed that. And I had to move back in. And instead of going out and being an adult and being free, it's like, yeah, but I put myself in a super good position. And I put myself where it's like, I get to do fun things now. I can go on vacations. No, they're not expensive vacations, but I can go on vacations if I want to for like a week. If I'm like, you know what, it's too cold here. I want to go down south for a week, and I've built up the time at work. Like, I work my butt off for all that, and that's the thing is that suffering or that sacrifice of like, you just have to sacrifice things to have the really, really nice things that you want, instead of worrying about being in debt all the time or worrying about this or worrying about that. It's like, you can do it. You can. It's hard. It's super hard, but you can do it.
with money, or so many people don't turn their finances around or accomplish their financial goals because so many people see saving money as a punishment. This is why it is so dangerous to live in a mindset that keeps you broke. When I was in 6 figures of debt, I never once for a day complained about saving money, having discipline, saying no to things, making good choices, because I knew all of those steps I was taking and all of those sacrifices could get me to where I wanted to go one day. So I never complained. I was miserable in my 20s, drowning in debt. I knew going out to eat, buying stuff I don't need, constantly buying new clothes, blowing through my paycheck because tomorrow's not guaranteed. I knew if I wasn't happy in my 20s.
Yeah, that's a hard thing for me too. Is like I don't ever go into like Walmart or any place like that because it's like every time I do, I always buy more junk than I need. I do. And it's like, great, this is going to be more calories than I'm eating and I'm not going to be on my diet. I'm spending more money than I need. So usually I try to go through the Walmart app. Other than I'm trying to buy meat from there and it's like it's always almost expired by like a day or two. So if I do buy meat like that where it's like Walmart pickup, usually I make sure that that day I'm cooking everything that's meat. That way it's like cooked and I can freeze it and it's like good for the next like couple of weeks after that. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like it. Well, one, I hate going into the store, but two, it does save you money because you're actually being able to look at everything and look at everything added up. You can see the tax, you can see everything, and it's super nice. It's so nice. Instead of like sitting there in the store, like calculating everything up with your little calculator on your phone and making spreadsheets, some people do, and you see people do that sometimes. Sometimes it's older couples, sometimes it's younger couples. Like it doesn't matter what age you are. Like it, you know, if you're not rich, like you're not rich.
I wasn't going to be any happier in my future because I chose to do those things instead. And this is what I don't get. I don't think I'm ever going to look back on my life and be sad that I didn't go out to eat more or that I didn't buy more clothes or
Yeah, exactly. I would rather save money so I can take time off to be able to, if I want to go on a nice vacation, I can. If I want to just take a week off in the summer, which I'm hoping to do, actually, to just be able to like go around my own state and be able to hike places, like not spending that much money, or even if it's like not even going around the state that much, even if it's just going locally and seeing if I can find places close to me that I can hike, like anything. It's a cheap vacation, yes, but it's nice, it's relaxing. I don't have to go somewhere, I don't have to do anything. I could just, if I want to get up and hike that day, I can. If I just want to stay home and sleep all day and stay in bed, I can. Like,
be upset that I have holes in my shoes. I feel like I'm going to look back on my life and be so grateful that I did what I had to do and I took the steps and I made the choices to turn my life around. People think I'm insane. People think I'm like brainwashed or whatever. I think society's brainwashed. I'm not kidding. Oh my God, I always think this. What if how I live my frugal life, what if I am living how life was meant to be lived and it's everyone else around me who's like fucking insane and brainwashed?
I was gonna say, I haven't read through. JD, please stop. Every time. Okay, I think he's done. Nope. Okay, I'm just gonna continue and hopefully you can't hear him barking that much. And he's howling. There's not even any wee woos going past the house. There's no reason to howl. He always howls when the wee woos goes by. He's like, oh, and I'm like, are you serious, dude? What were we even talking about? I'm sorry. Oh, yes, I know what we were talking about. I was going to talk about Ecclesiastes. I haven't read through it. Um, I've listened to people talk about it, like on Sundays and stuff like that, preaching and stuff like that. And well, I guess I've sat through one Bible study where we kind of like read part of it and then discussed it. But it's all about this, like what he's talking about, like a minimalist lifestyle where it's like, okay, all you need is like some fellowship, some good food, and like to read the Bible. Like that's it, dude. That's all you need. Like you need God, you need good food, and you need fellowship. It and it is this like simple life of like this is what you need. You absolutely need. Not all this other materialistic crap. This is what you need. And I have noticed like that was the whole point of me wanting to move here because like when my friends are around and stuff like that. But there's a lot of whether people are Christian around here or not, there's a lot of that fellowship. There's a lot of that, everyone kind of knows everyone, you know? It, like, no one's really a stranger. And it's like, I really, really like that. I really like the community and the surrounding communities and stuff like that, that they're pretty much all like that. And I very much appreciate that. Even as a very introverted person where I'm like, I don't really want to talk to anyone. It is kind of nice to have that, like, comforting, like, hey, how are you doing? Like, and genuinely, like, meaning it, you know, and getting into, like, a random conversation with a random stranger. Like, I like that. Even as a very introverted person, I like that, you know. And it is this simple life that, like, I'm very, like, attracted to. Yes, I have a lot of material things. I I would say I'm not like a minimalist, but I do understand, like, the appeal of everything, of having just a couple of core values and being like, this is how I want to live my life. You know, I don't need all this random crap. This is what I actually need.
Sometimes I really do believe that. We've just been so misled and we've been so brainwashed by consumerism and overconsumption and influencers to believe like it's all the stuff around us that makes us happy, but to also convert your hard work and your paycheck into things. When I was drowning in debt in my 20s, I never subscribed to that mindset. I never saw my paycheck as a thing to enjoy. And I know people are going to push back on that and be unhappy that I say that. Going out to eat.
I was going to say, yeah, same. But that's usually because most of my paycheck either goes to, like, mostly expenses and stuff like that, or, you know, I mean, I do go out to eat, so, but, and I know I need to work on it. But, I mean, the extra money would probably just go to, I don't know, I'd probably just, like, invest it or just save it and be like, and I don't know, go on a vacation or something like that. But if I invest it, I'd probably just invest it and then wait until it grows big enough to just be able to pay off the house and stuff like that. I mean, that's what I've been doing with all my little bit of extra money here and there, as I've been either, like, trying to invest it somehow so I can just be like, oh, this is for retirement, or this is for, like, so I can pay off my house one day and stuff like that. So that way, that's one less thing I have to worry about down the road. And be like, oh my goodness, thank God, like, I saved all this money up and put it into, whether it be like CDs or S&P 500s or whatever. Like, thank God I did this to better my life, and be like, you know what, I don't have any expenses anymore. I don't have any debt anymore. I don't have what, you know, and just be able just to live my life. Jay, you need to shut up! Oh my God, he's howling everywhere.
Was not going to make my life any happier. Buying more clothes was not going to make my life any happier. And I knew that. I knew that from the start. So I said, what would make me happy is to get the fuck out of this mess. What will make me happy is to have a savings account. So if something goes wrong, I'm okay, because I have no one to lean on. I have no one. The only person who has my back is myself. That was the mantra of my 20s. I knew I would only be getting in my own way if I subscribed to the mindset of treating yourself. And life is short, and tomorrow's not guaranteed. Because now I see, as a financial coach, I work with people who are in their 50s with nothing. And I understand there's some people who are just down on their luck and they come from fucked up circumstances.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But there's also a lot of people who get in their own way and ruin their own life. Because
exactly, it's that thinking about today, not about tomorrow. And yes, there are some situations where it's just like, where it's
they
like,
saw saving.
I don't know what's going on right now. Sorry. Everything's trying to switch over to my phone. You go back here, and so I don't know where it left off, but all I'll say is, yeah, it's that thinking about today and not thinking about tomorrow. It's, you know, that instant gratification. Now, there are some people, like, down on their luck. Maybe something big happened, maybe an accident, whatever, and it just wiped all of their nest egg and everything like that, like, and you have to start over again, and that sucks. But you can build that back up. You can build that nest back up. You can, like, you can do it. It's just, I mean, it's difficult and it's depressing when that stuff happens. But a lot of people, it's their own fault of they're not making those sacrifices for a better tomorrow. They're just seeing today.
Money as a punishment. And now look at who's punished. It's the person who's in their 40s with nothing. It's the person who's in their 60s with nothing to retire.
Yep.
I was scrolling Instagram the other day and I saw this video.
The amount of people, like I watch Caleb Hammer a lot, the amount of people who do not save for retirement, and they're like in their, like, 40s, some of them in their late 30s, and I'm like, and they're living paycheck to paycheck, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna be working forever, and your body can't do that. Like if you live to your 90, like once you hit 70, there's a lot of things you already cannot do, and it keeps getting progressively worse and worse and worse. I mean, I see this from like a lot of my older family members. I remember when they were like in their 70s and they could still do a ton of stuff. I mean, they were working out, they were doing all this, and it's like now they're in their 80s, pushing into their 90s, and it's like they can barely like walk around and stuff, and it's scary, like it is. And I'm like, I can't imagine not saving anything for and what having to work. I mean, if you're lucky, I remember this one lady at McDonald's. She's like, I'm never gonna retire because I can't sit down, I can't sit still. And she did. Like we were like, we haven't seen her in a while. How's she's doing? And they're like, oh yeah, she died. And we were like, what? And they were like, yeah, she's just, you know, she worked her entire life until she passed, and she didn't want to retire. And I mean, I think she was like, she had to be in her 90s. There was no way she wasn't in her 90s. But she wanted to work. She wanted to keep busy. But not everyone can physically do that, whether they want to or not. There's a lot of people who can't physically do that.
It was this guy, and he was like, so you're telling me I should save my money so I can enjoy it when I'm older?
Yes.
Yeah, no thanks. Oh my God. This is so the problem today. You're so small-minded.
Pampers Swaddlers, the #1 brand for sleep.
Parents, if your child plays Roblox, listen up. You could qualify for up to $300,000.
And like, you're not thinking of the bigger picture. I never was saving my money thinking about my future. I knew I was helping my future self, but I didn't think of my life in the future. I don't even, like, even being 33, there was times I didn't think I'd make it because things were so bad and I had nothing going for me. But again, that is because everyone sees saving your money as a punishment. And that's why I say, save your money and shut up! If you didn't see saving money as a punishment, and if you saw that saving money is the kindest thing that you could do for yourself, to make good choices is the nicest thing, that is the best. That is, taking care of your finances is the...
Yeah, because you can reward yourself bigger. On a bigger trip, on a bigger whatever. Like, or like even not going on a trip, just being able to live more comfortably in, 10 years. Maybe have like the dream house you always wanted or something like that. Like, it's not a punishment, it's a reward. And I think about this, like, this is a very different discussion a little bit, but you think of like the disciples, all of them suffered a lot. But like 99% of them were killed for their belief that Jesus was God. They suffered a lot. I mean, even through Jesus's time, like when he was on earth, I mean, they got stones thrown at them. They got, I mean, just people like spitting on them everywhere, like just awful things, like giant mobs coming at them, and they were like, well, this could be it, like this could be my last day. I could just get beaten the crap out of by a crowd. But they were willing to take that because they knew eternally that they were going to have a good life in the next life. They were going to be with God. They were going to be with Jesus. They were not going to have to suffer. Yes, they have to suffer now, or yes, they have to make those sacrifices, whatever you want to call it. But in the end, once they passed, they get to live now eternally. And they get to be with God. And they get to have no pain. It's like, I mean, I know that's a lot different from finances, but it is kind of the same, like, sentiment of, like, if you save your money now, and you make those sacrifices, or you suffer, or whatever, it will catapult you to be able to live a better life later in your life.
Biggest act of self-love a person can do. You know what self-care really is? It's improving your finances. It's having an emergency fund. So if something goes wrong in your life, which we've all been there,
Yep.
Life happens to all of us. I don't care who anyone is. Life happens to all of us. And those fucking candles and the bullshit in your closet is not going to have your back the way you will have your back if you save your money and have an emergency fund. That's why I feel like the biggest act of self-love and self-care is to care about your finances. So many people don't give a fuck about money, and yet they want money, and yet they want everything, but they're also not willing to do anything to then have money. You're not willing to say no to things. You're not willing to sacrifice and cut things out. This is what I love about my content, is that I'm showing people, for one, learning to say no now will pay off. where you could then learn to live a life of yes later. But I also love that my content
Yeah.
shows people it is about moderation and making good choices. Even when I was broke in New York City, those were my dark days. 6 figures of debt, making $12 an hour, had a back injury, all the bullshit. Like
In
if
New
a
York
friend was
City,
celebrating
you're
their
making
birthday at
$12 an
brunch,
hour?
I
Holy
would go.
crap.
But instead of getting unlimited mimosas,
How are you not living on the
and getting
street?
a side of this and getting that, I would get one thing and shut up. That's it. My content is saying, go out and have fun with friends. Don't be a moron about it. Don't be stupid, okay? Because you don't have money. You can't afford to be stupid. Instead of getting 3 drinks, getting an appetizer, getting an entree, go getting a sweet treat later, get an entree and shut up. You want to have it all, but you're not willing to do any of it to have it. I am now today 33 years old with almost $500,000 saved. And yes, I am very grateful that
Holy
I've
crap. Good for you, dude.
drastically increased my income over the past like year and a half, but I also had every opportunity to blow through that money. Have we not heard of influencers absolutely blowing through the money they make? And then they're left with nothing. And then all
Yeah, we're seeing, what, iDubbbz right now? Trying to sell his house. I can't think of any others right offhand. Amberlynn Reed is another one. Because as soon as she lost her monetization, she started crying about it. And it was like, do you not have anything saved? Like, nothing? And there's a lot of old school YouTubers. I mean, Boogie2988, we see is in the same situation. Wings of Redemption. Is it Darkside Phil? Is that what his name is? I can see his face. I can't think of his name. I think it's Darkside Phil, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I mean, we see a lot of YouTubers even. They're like, oh man, I'm making all this money. Like, I'm doing all this stuff. And it's like, well, content, unless you're changing it up all the time, content does have like a shelf life where you're going to boom and then it's like, you're just going to even out. Unless you're like freaking PewDiePie or Jaded Animations or Odd Ones Out, where it's like, okay, yes, you had that boom, but now you're like chill with where you're at, which I think they're doing, like Jaded Animations and stuff like that. I think they're in Odd Ones Out. I don't know if they're both doing live streaming, but I think they're doing other stuff as well. But like PewDiePie's like, I made my bag and then I decided that I wanted to continue to do other stuff, and now he's just like making vlogs with his family like every couple of months, and I have been loving those vlogs. It's been fantastic. I'm like, don't even like kids but I'm like, it's just so cute to be like, they're both living where they want to live. They have like a little family unit, like they're just happy where they are, and it's very sweet because you see a lot of people not doing that.
their hard work, they have nothing to show for it. So I had to move. I have a feeling this lighting is way better because I said no to things, because I cut things out, because I lived as bare bone, dirt cheap as possible, because I didn't believe in life is short and tomorrow's not guaranteed and instant gratification. I am now 33 years old. And like, you're not thinking of the bigger picture. I never was saving my money thinking about my future. I knew I was helping my future self, but I didn't think of my life in the future. I don't even, like, even being 33, there was times I didn't think I'd make it because things were so bad and I had nothing going for me. But again, that is because everyone sees saving your money as a punishment. And that's why I say, save your money and shut up! If you didn't see saving money as a punishment, and if you saw that saving money is the kindest thing that you could do for yourself, to make good choices is the nicest thing, that is the best. That is, taking care of your finances is the...
Yeah, because you can reward yourself bigger. On a bigger trip, on a bigger whatever. Like, or like even not going on a trip, just being able to live more comfortably in, 10 years. Maybe have like the dream house you always wanted or something like that. Like, it's not a punishment, it's a reward. And I think about this, like, this is a very different, discussion a little bit, but you think of like the disciples, all of them suffered a lot. Like 99% of them were killed for their belief that Jesus was God. They suffered a lot. Even through Jesus's time, like when he was on earth, they got stones thrown at them. They got, just people like spitting on them everywhere, like just awful things, like giant mobs coming at them, and they were like, well, this could be it, like this could be my last day. I could just get beaten the crap out of by a crowd. But they were willing to take that because they knew eternally that they were going to have a good life in the next life. They were going to be with God. They were going to be with Jesus. They were not going to have to suffer. Yes, they have to suffer now, or yes, they have to make those sacrifices, whatever you want to call it. But in the end, once they passed, they get to live now eternally. And they get to be with God. And they get to have no pain. It's like, I mean, I know that's a lot different from finances, but it is kind of the same, like, sentiment of, like, if you save your money now, and you make those sacrifices, or you suffer, or whatever, it will catapult you to be able to live a better life later in your life.
Biggest act of self-love a person can do. You know what self-care really is? It's improving your finances. It's having an emergency fund. So if something goes wrong in your life, which we've all been there,
Yep.
Life happens to all of us. I don't care who anyone is. Life happens to all of us. And those fucking candles and the bullshit in your closet is not going to have your back the way you will have your back if you save your money and have an emergency fund. That's why I feel like the biggest act of self-love and self-care is to care about your finances. So many people don't give a fuck about money, and yet they want money. And yet they want everything, but they're also not willing to do anything to then have money. You're not willing to say no to things. You're not willing to sacrifice and cut things out. This is what I love about my content, is that I'm showing people, for one, learning to say no now will pay off, where you could then learn to live a life of yes later. But I also love that my content shows people it is about moderation and making good choices. Even when I was broke in New York City, those were my dark days. 6 figures of debt, making $12 an hour, had a back injury, all the bullshit. Like,
In
if
New
a friend
York
was
City,
celebrating
you're
their
making
birthday at
$12 an
brunch,
hour?
I would
Holy
go.
crap.
But instead of getting unlimited mimosas,
How are you not living on the
and getting
street?
a side of this and getting that, I would get one thing and shut up. That's it. My content is saying, go out and have fun with friends. Don't be a moron about it. Don't be stupid. Okay? Because you don't have money. You can't afford to be stupid. Instead of getting 3 drinks, getting an appetizer, getting an entree, go getting a sweet treat later, get an entree and shut up. You want to have it all, but you're not willing to do any of it to have it. I am now today 33 years old with almost $500,000 saved. And yes, I am very grateful that
Holy
I've
crap. Good for you, dude.
drastically increased my income over the past year and a half, but I also had every opportunity to blow through that money. Have we not heard of influencers absolutely blowing through the money they make? And then they're left with nothing. And then all
Yeah, we're seeing, what, iDubbbz right now? Trying to sell his house. I can't think of any others right offhand. Amberlynn Reed is another one. Because as soon as she lost her monetization, she started crying about it. And it was like, do you not have anything saved? Like, nothing? And there's a lot of old school YouTubers. I mean, Boogie2988, we see is in the same situation. Wings of Redemption. Is it Darkside Phil? Is that what his name is? I can see his face. I can't think of his name. I think it's Darkside Phil, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I mean, we see a lot of YouTubers even. They're like, oh man, I'm making all this money. Like, I'm doing all this stuff. And it's like, well, content, unless you're changing it up all the time, content does have like a shelf life where you're going to boom and then it's like, you're just going to even out. Unless you're like freaking PewDiePie or Jaded Animations or Odd Ones Out, where it's like, okay, yes, you had that boom, but now you're like chill with where you're at, which I think they're doing, like Jaded Animations and stuff like that. I think they're in Odd Ones Out. I don't know if they're both doing live streaming, but I think they're doing other stuff as well. But like PewDiePie's like, I made my bag and then I decided that I wanted to continue to do other stuff, and now he's just like making vlogs with his family like every couple of months, and I have been loving those vlogs. It's been fantastic. I'm like, don't even like kids but I'm like, it's just so cute to be like, they're both living where they want to live. They have a little family unit, like they're just happy where they are, and it's very sweet because you see a lot of people not doing that.
their hard work, they have nothing to show for it. So I had to move. I have a feeling this lighting is way better because I said no to things, because I cut things out, because I lived as bare bone, dirt cheap as possible, because I didn't believe in life is short and tomorrow's not guaranteed and instant gratification. I am now 33 years old today with almost $500,000 saved. What the fuck do you mean? Why should I save my money just to enjoy it when I'm older? Do you realize the steps that you make today set yourself up for tomorrow? I don't understand why people always equate saving money and making good choices with your money and being responsible with money with why am I going to do this only to have it when I'm older? If I fucked around, if I didn't give a shit, if I was just living for today and having fun, being so small-minded, I would be 33 years old today with nothing. And that terrifies me.
Yeah.
Because imagine being 33 today with nothing because I cared more about going out to eat, because I cared more about having a nicer apartment, because I cared more about having newer clothes in my closet. I don't give a fuck about any of that. And because I didn't give a fuck about any of that, I set myself up There's literally a group of like high school guys walking in this direction, which is like truly my actual nightmare. So they better just like fucking keep walking. I never know who knows me or recognizes me because I know the Frugal Mobile is kind of famous and iconic. So it's just gonna take one person to like know. Oh my god, I hate this. I don't mean to be dramatic, but it's like I don't really feel comfortable in public anymore. I would consider I kind of blew up in the last year, and it's crazy how different my life is now. That like even going on a date.
That's crazy because I don't think he even has like a million. No, he doesn't have even like 150 yet, and he's like getting noticed everywhere. It's kind of crazy. It's crazy to think about. I mean, I guess he does do TikTok too, and he said he's got like over a million there. But still, that's kind of crazy to think about that. Like he would get recognized all the time. You would think, he just wouldn't because there's a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of people with a million subscribers. So you would think like someone who, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a small channel, but compared to other people, it is a small channel, and you would think that he would really get recognized, but I guess he does. Interesting.
That guy, if you guys caught the live stream, you know, I went on a couple dates with this guy, and on every single date I got recognized from a budget baddie, and it's just like that was not my life a year ago. It's crazy. Anyways, I will shut up. Do you see when you talk about money in a small-minded way and like in a broke mindset way, it will only keep you stuck exactly where you are. Point blank period. I don't give a fuck what anyone's opinion is about that. And that was his mindset. That why am I going to save money to just enjoy it when I'm old? I'm not old. I'm 33 years old. I made good choices. I sacrificed everything. I saved every dollar I could. I worked my ass off, and now I'm 33 years old, financially stable, which is all I wanted. But it's people who think like him, who also refuse to make good choices, who refuse to respect money.
And that's the thing too, is like where he's at now. Say he spends like, he's got like $500,000, so let's say he spends $50,000 a year and like just decides to go completely like no working, no nothing. I mean, that's a whole like 10 years that he can just spend 50 grand and do what he wants to do, So if he wants to retire early, like let's say he keeps that 500,000 and just is investing it and stuff like that, to where it's like even just putting it in CDs where it sits with the market. I mean, and say he reaches 40 and he's like, you know what? Yeah, I put a lot into my whatever you want to call it, Roth or I don't remember what the other ones are called. Just I put a lot into my retirement. Yeah, I gotta wait like 10 years to take it out, but I have a $500,000, so I can just retire at 40 and it's, I retired an extra 10 years earlier. Like, that's the kind of, that's why like even me personally, it's like, okay, like if I get this big chunk of money and the house gets paid off and stuff like that, then I can save up. And if I want to sell the house and get a little bit bigger of a house, I could, and it wouldn't be that much a month because I would be selling what I have here and then whatever I have saved up there. But honestly, I'm content where I'm at for a really long time, so I can just save that money, put it aside, and that can be extra money that builds up, and maybe I want to retire early. I don't know. So it's just something to think about, and like $50,000 like a year is pretty nice and cushy if you're like, oh, I already have like houses paid off and cars paid off and whatever, and you're like, okay, now I have these like $50,000 a year. I don't really have that many expenses. Okay, maybe I'm gonna go on like a vacation or two in a year, or maybe just one, do a big nice vacation. I mean, at 40 you can still do a lot physically. So again, it's treating yourself for tomorrow instead of just looking at today.
Who will then let years of their life go by. And then one day they're going to wake up in their mid-30s, in their mid-40s, and they're going to say, I wonder why I don't have any money. I wonder why I can't get ahead. Oh, I want to buy a house. I don't have any money, but suddenly I want to buy a house. Wake up! Wake up! Because I don't want you to be that same person. I don't want you to be the same person sitting around being a victim, letting your life go by, not accomplishing your financial goals, not improving your finances because you think like everyone else, because you give into.
And I've talked about this before, but honestly, that worries me. Like, not finance-wise, just in general. Like, what if I'm just, like, wasting my life away? I keep talking about, oh, I want to learn Spanish, but I haven't. For how many times that I've talked about how I want to learn Spanish, I probably could have friggin' learned Spanish. For, like, how many times I've talked about, like, oh, I need to start practicing my ukulele again. Probably could have gotten a lot better at the ukulele. For how many times, you know what I mean? Like, it's it's just hard as an adult because you're like, there's no deadlines for anything. So you're just like, you just keep kicking the can down the road until you're like 70 years old. And then you're like, what the fuck did I do with my life? I've done absolutely fuck all, you know? And I don't want to be that person. I want to do something with my life. And it doesn't matter in the end because I'm just going to, like, as long as I'm, praising God and doing the right things that I need to do for Him, like, and I freaking die, it's not going to matter in the afterlife that I freaking learned Spanish or took my time learning things. But there's also a thing in Christianity where it always talks about growing your faith, like, and sometimes that means suffering, sometimes that means trying to learn new things, and the hobbies that I want to learn can help me, outreach for that, or just be good practice on sticking to something and being consistent with something and learning something. So, and you can apply it to reading the Bible every day, or maybe you're doing ministry or whatever. Being able to be that consistent, pushing yourself and pushing for your goals and stuff like that, it can help you build that relationship with God. Because at the end of the day, I mean, that's really all that matters. But you can use those skills in different areas of your life. It's not just, oh, I really want to learn ukulele, and then it's just kind of like, well, I've done nothing about it, and then kick the can down the road. So what else am I going to do with my life when other things pop up, whether it be important or not important? I kick the can down the road. I do. And I need to stop doing that.
The bullshit you see on social media and what these stupid influencers are telling you. There is this calculation. I don't know if you guys saw the video. I posted a YouTube short like a week ago. There's this calculation that you can have $5,000 saved at the end of this year if you save $13.70 a day. Do you see how when you think about money differently, the light bulbs go off? Because so many people think it is so mission impossible to save anything. But when you actually break it down, $5,000 at the end of this year is by not spending $13.70 a day. How many times a week are you going out to eat? How many times are you going to these stupid stores and you're racking up $100, $150? You have to think about this too. Maybe you're not spending money day to day, but you may be spending bigger amounts of money periodically. But it still very well could possibly level out to close to $13.70 a day. As a financial coach, when I track the spending of my clients and I see they spent $300 to $400 on going out to eat, stupid! Where between going out to eat and shopping, it added up to like almost $1,000. Don't you dare fucking look at me and say, why can't I get ahead? Why can't I save money? Why can't I accomplish my financial goals? When's it ever gonna get better? Wake up! It can get better, but guess who has to start with things getting better? It's you. That is why the mantra, that is why the mindset of this year is just save your money and shut up. Just do it. You're gonna let your whole life go by where you work. You work so many years of your life and you have nothing to show for it. That is stupid. Why do I get so upset about it?
I was going to say, in some, like if you want to know where your money's going, I mean, you can look at, there's a lot of credit, I'm currently looking at my credit card, that's why I was saying that, but you can look at your credit card and it will do like a spend analyzer breakdown. I don't know if every credit card company does this, but I think there's a lot of credit card companies that do this. So, I mean, restaurants. This, from February 3rd to February 17th is when I'm recording this. It says I spent $100 on restaurants. That could have been $100 that I could have saved. Because I do have food at home. Or if I really needed to grab some stuff extra from like Walmart or Kroger or one of them, I could have done that. Ouch.
Why do I get so worked up about it? Because I could be 33 years old today and 6 figures of debt with nothing. If I didn't give a fuck, if I didn't get serious, if I didn't get focused, if I didn't develop discipline and learn how to make good choices, and that terrifies me. Nothing terrifies me more, like I'm getting emotional thinking about it, because I hated my life so much in my 20s and I just didn't want it for the rest of my life. I was so terrified by my debt and struggling with money that I was literally willing to do whatever it took. One of the rooms I rented in New York City, there was a hole in the wall and rats would run back and forth. I would hear it at night and I slept on a mattress on the floor. They probably were jumping up on the mattress and I refused to buy a bed frame.
Bro, look at it. Did you see that?
just on the floor, they probably were jumping up on the mattress. And I refused to buy a bed frame. I needed the money. I was willing to do whatever it took. That's why I say save your money and shut up. That's the mindset you have to get in. Yeah. Because if you want it, you have to want it bad enough. You have to do whatever it takes. And I'm never saying anyone has to be as intense as me. I understand that. But you have to look at your life. You have to look at how you spend money. You have to look at how you think about money and say, nothing is going to change if I do not change. Oh, I need to make more money. You're going to spend more money if you make more money, if you continue to live in the mindset you're living in. Everyone's always chasing for more money, which obviously increasing your income is a magnificent thing. Increasing my income changed my life. I used to make $25,000 a year with an 800 something, I thought that was a rat, it's a leaf. With an $800 and something student loan payment every month. It was awful. Of course I needed more money, but guess what? I was in more control of how I spent my money, the choices I made with my money. That's why I live my frugal lifestyle and I advocate my frugal lifestyle, because you are so much in control of what you do with your money than just magically waking up tomorrow and making more money. No spend days saved my life. My entire 20s were no spend days. Like I mean, of course I went out with friends and I had fun, so I'm just joking, but like truly, I feel like what improved my finances and saved my life was no spend days, just not spending money, just spending money on what was absolutely 100% necessity and not stuff I want. Fuck the stuff I want. I didn't want anything. You know what I wanted in my 20s was to not worry about money, because that's all I did was worry about money. Like, if you struggle to save money, or you struggle to get in the mindset, or you feel like you can't do it, I promise you, start to try to do no spend days. Get your ass out of bed, start cooking your breakfast before you go to work, meal prep the night before. Oh, but Bradley, I'm tired. Oh, but Bradley, I had a long day. Shut up. So has everyone else. Like, you're not special. I'm so tired of this. I'm tired and I have a job. So does everyone else. So wake up, shut up, cook your food, meal prep ahead of time, stop wasting your money on bullshit. But truly, try to do a no spend day. I know I see a lot of your guys' comments. You love when I do the no spend day videos. You say it's helpful, it motivates you. And the thing is, when you can prove to yourself that you could go a day without spending any money, I feel like so many people refuse to try to improve their finances because they don't even want to try because they don't think they can do it. Best thing I did in my 20s was try. Even when the odds were so stacked against me, to be in so much debt, making such little money, even when it didn't feel possible that it would get better, I kept at it. I kept making good choices. I kept saving my money. I kept doing anything I could to make my life better because I knew I had the chance it could get better. I feel like so many people refuse to start because they just don't think it's possible. So prove to yourself that you can do a no spend day. You can go a whole day with making good choices. And oh my God, they're literally playing fucking hockey here while I'm yelling at you. I can't do it. Spending money, I have to keep going because I have to go in like 10 minutes. Spending money is a habit. And when all you know is that habit of, oh, I'm going to wake up and go to Dunkin'. I'm going to wake up and go get something from the drive-thru. Oh, I didn't meal prep last night. I'm just going to go buy a $15 sandwich for lunch. When that is all you know, that is all you will continue to do. When it comes to winning with money and saving money, you must break the habit. I'm encouraging all of you to do a no spend day. Show yourself you can do it, and then you start to develop that habit. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Of course,
I was going to say, I might not do a no spend day, but maybe just definitely look out for, like, I knew the restaurant thing was bad, but I didn't know it was that bad. So, yeah, definitely also need to look out for stuff as well. I like that. I like that encouragement. I like that. Like, hey, I'm doing it. You can do it too. I mean, even though he's got like $500,000 in the bank, he's like, you know, you don't have to spend on this big elaborate thing. You could just keep saving. And then if you want to go on a really nice vacation, or you want to, you know, you do randomly want to get this really nice thing, you know, you sacrificed for it, so you can now have it. I like that.